I've recently developed a crush on Michelle Yeoh, and after she won Best Actress at the Academy Awards, I wanted to go back in time and see some of her early work. I didn't bother to peruse her IMDb top 10 rated movies or anything, so I just kind of picked one of the first 80s films that popped up on my Amazon Prime. Today, I wanted to review a 1985 Michelle Yeoh and Cynthia Rothrock film called Yes, Madam. I actually don't know what the real title of the movie is. There are two versions on Amazon Prime. The Cantonese version with English subtitles is called Yes, Madam, and the English dubbed version is called In the Line of Duty 2: The Super Cops. Super Cop must be a Cantonese term because I've never heard that phrase until I started watching Hong Kong films. Michelle Yeoh and Cynthia Rothrock star as two kung fu fighting, butt-kicking Hong Kong police detectives who are protecting three thieves who accidentally stole a microfilm that contains a valuable forged contract from a corrupt corporation. Now that corporation is trying to retrieve the microfilm and kill anyone who knows about it. The movie isn't terrible, but it's not very good either. Let's start off with what I liked about it. I discovered this movie because I was watching YouTube clips of the Jackie Chan Michelle Yeoh film Super Cop, and the final fight scene for Yes, Madam popped up in the recommendations. The 5 to 6 minute finale of the film is a very entertaining kung fu fight scene with our female leads fighting bad guys in a mansion while balancing on banisters and bending their limbs in unnatural ways, and bad guys are being kicked through glass windows and flying off of balconies. I love how in 80s Hong Kong movies, when a bad guy gets kicked through a glass window, it cuts to slow motion and you hear him scream, It's not a particularly realistic looking fight. It looks more like Jedi Knights fighting in one of the Star Wars prequels than it does look like a street brawl, but the action is lightning fast, which helps keep it interesting. Michelle Yeoh is actually trained as a dancer, which makes her kung fu look very graceful. Even though Yes, Madam isn't a laugh-out-loud comedy, the dialogue is actually pretty clever. Most of the screen time is given to our three thieves, played by I'm going to butcher these names, John Sham, Hoi Meng, and Hark Tsui, and their bickering back and forth is fun to watch. The funniest part of the movie for me is easily the villain, played by James Ten. He has the most over-the-top villain laugh, and he is the most perfectly caricatured embodiment of the 80s businessman villain. Now, this is a stupid reason to like the movie, but something I liked is just the plain fact of seeing a young version of Michelle Yeoh. My whole life, I have only ever seen her as a middle-aged woman, so it's fun seeing her when her face was a little more round and she's a little more tan and she's rocking that short, spiky 80s hairdo. What really prevents Yes, Madam from being a great movie is that it was really light on the action. There are some brief skirmishes scattered throughout the movie, but the big fight scene is at the end and it only lasts about 5 minutes. There is one really clever scene where one of the criminals is being chased by an assassin in his apartment, and he's a shady dude, so he has a bunch of secret trap doors and folding walls that he manipulates to escape the assassin's clutches, but other than that, everything else is pretty forgettable. I also didn't like how little screen time was given to Michelle Yeoh and Cynthia Rothrock. They are very much supporting characters in this movie, and this leaves them painfully underdeveloped. All we know about them is they both know Chinese martial arts. Rothrock's character likes to beat up criminal suspects, while Michelle Yeoh likes to play the more calm and reasonable one. In my opinion, a kung fu comedy should have a lot of kung fu and a lot of comedy, but Yes, Madam needs a lot more of both. If you do decide to watch this movie, I mentioned that there is both an English dub and a Cantonese version with English subtitles on Amazon Prime. Do not watch the English dubbed version. I only viewed bits and pieces, but the scenes I did see are significantly cut down and the translation isn't as good as the English subtitles on the Cantonese version. The film and audio quality is also a lot worse. It looks like when you're watching a high-quality YouTube video, but your internet needs to catch up so it downgrades to 360p. They also add a lot more swearing into the English version, which puts it firmly in the R-rated category, while the Cantonese version is much more PG-13. Again, even though Yes Madam is not terrible, I lean towards not recommending it unless you are a big Michelle Yeoh fan and you want to follow her history in cinema.